Hello, hello, hello. Good to see you. You get fairy dust. I get fairy dust. Little Amelie gets fairy dust. And I have a question for Ask an Advanced Bitch about about how to deal with anxiety regarding like the big picture things, which a lot of us are dealing with. So here we go. Um, let's see. As previously mentioned, this is kind of a follow-up to another question she asked me. As previously mentioned, I am sensitive and feel things very deeply. Same. I am also very anxious. Same. Particularly about climate change. This is by no means a new thing. I have been worrying about climate change since I first read about it in the Weekly Reader in the second grade. Oh, sweetheart. But watching the world literally burn before my eyes has me pretty much living in a constant state of existentialism and despair. See, knowing what's going to happen in over little a week, she wrote me this before the election, um, is contributing. I was always scared, but knowing that no action will be taken to attempt to mitigate climate change, as if anything, it will probably make it worse, is just, I don't have words. I truly feel, I truly feel like I'm witnessing the beginning of a downfall of humanity, and it is a lot to sit with. It is. It feels like most people are just continuing on with their lives as if everything is fine, when actually we should all be freaking the fuck out and collectively trying to prevent things from getting worse. Anyway, I know that was a lot. I don't even know exactly what I'm asking. Maybe I'm just trying to feel less alone with my big feelings. So thank you for the magic and light you bring into this world. Thank you for saying that. Okay. You know, I have an easy solution. Just kidding. Um, I'll tell you what I do. I tell you what I do is, you know, there's there's local and there's global, and so I do the local things that I've been told to do, like recycle and like, make decisions based on like not wasting stuff. I mean, like sometimes I think about like, oh, maybe I don't need to fly there because that's, contributes to climate change or whatever. And it is interesting, like a lot of people aren't thinking of that at all. I think most people walk around the world in, a kind of denial, I think, including climate scientists, to 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 survive because it is so big and so all encompassing. Okay. So we are seeing, like, we're starting to see and hear about the way that, and it's coming at us like faster than we thought that it would, or some people thought that it would, like the fires and the hurricanes, the way they were, like to have Asheville to have a hurricane damage is like, oh, this is new. Okay. And like, you know, just sometimes I think because I'm getting older and I'm thinking like, where should I end up living? Like I used to think like I'm gonna retire in Florida. I grew up in Florida, like I'm from Florida, I'll go to Florida. And then that kind of changed with the politics changing. And then it was like, oh, I don't know if that's a safe place for me to be anymore because of climate change. And so um, it is weird. Like I've moved from, oh, where do I want to retire? Like, what's that like? And to like, I hope I can just be comfortable in my old age. I mean, these are the things that I'm thinking, and I don't think I'm too off base. Okay, so local, it's about like, okay, what can I do that makes me feel like I am contributing to making a difference? I will also tell you that I've read things that like we could all do all of these things and it's still whatever, big oil, or it's still, it like even if like individuals made all these different changes, that the real problem comes with that where we get our energy and oil and things like that. I mean, I'm not an expert in any of this. And so you start to feel like, well, what the fuck? Like, well, why do I even try? Like, what difference am I making? So it can get into that. What I try to do is avoid that. Is like, yes, and yes, and is a tool. Yes, what I'm doing may not matter. It matters to me. It matters to me, like with the recycling. I don't know what the fuck happens to that shit. I don't know. I'm trying to cut down on my consumption of products. Like and it's like it matters. And so there's that. The global thing, like just hearing recently that, we were pulled out of the Paris climate, whatever it was, whatever it's called. It's like, oof, oof. But you know what we've had to do a lot of is reevaluate. Like a lot of us are reevaluating. Oh shit, like everything we were taught about government is like that's not happening now. Like, oh shit, what we were taught about being good and having character, like we're fucking taught character. Like it's like, oh, that doesn't matter. People don't care. Stuff about not breaking laws. Like you'll have consequences if you break laws. Okay, will we though? Like I am having a hard time watching TV because I'm like watching, stupid Netflix shit, and it's like, um, okay, but so what if they catch that person? They'll probably go to jail and probably get off because somebody in charge doesn't want them in jail. Like I'm fully writing it for myself. Like I'm fully like none of this matters. There's no fucking stakes. There's no stakes. And so it's like, oh my God. So it is for me, not first step, but part of my work has been come to terms with the reality of where I live. Like the reality of what it means to be, to identify, me identifying and being a patriotic American 10 years ago, 20 years ago is very different than me feeling like I'm an American or I'm a patriotic American now. Like I want to be that, but I feel so embarrassed about like there's no stakes. Like you can do anything, and if you are with the right people, you can get away with it, and that's okay. These people are bad, these people are good. It's like, wow. So what do I do? I go to the ladder of trust. So I wrote a book called the Irreverent Trust Guide, where I have a tool called the Ladder of Trust. And I invented it with individuals in mind, like, oh, I want this person to stop smoking cigarettes. Okay, so I want them, they smoke cigarettes, and I live in the reality in which this person smokes cigarettes. I wanted them to be on a higher rung than I am. I want them to be in a world where they'll be healthy and they'll do, I want them to be in a world where they don't smoke cigarettes. Okay. Well, this person may say, I'll quit, but they don't. Or they're just like, fuck you, I'm not quitting. I have to have it. I'm like, okay. But no, but seriously, you should quit. Like this. So me wanting them to be on a higher rung. Well, that only causes one person pain, me. So the distance between where I am on the ladder, what I want from this person, which is for them to quit smoking, and where they actually are, is my pain. It's my pain. And so, bitch, I don't want to be in pain. And so, where I want America to be, who I wanted to be president, who, and sweetheart, to that second grader, how I want the world to be treating this climate change is is different than where it is. And also different where I was taught that it could be. And so unfortunately, in the end, that is my pain. So for me, and for me, justice, like we all have different, we all have character strengths, and in my top 5, one of them is justice, and it's usually like 1 or 2 when I take like a quiz or something in the past of ordering my 24 character strengths. Just, and so it's like, oh, that's unjust. It's like, that is causing me pain. Now, what can I do? What can I do? I can try again and get the people that I want to be elected to be elected. You know, the people that say that they're going to do something about that, I have to be in their corner. Maybe I'll read more about what I can do. Maybe I'll move to a place where, even though they say there's no safe place anymore, um, you know, maybe I'll move there. I don't know. But for me, a lot of it is because my anxiety, not just understand this to me is the point. Whether I'm upset about it or I'm not as upset about it, it is happening. So I can be upset about it. And I'm not saying, for me, it feels like a healthy human response to be sad, upset, and scared. Like that, it's just a true, but I can't live there, or that's going to send me into the bed for all the time. You know, send me into a depression that you know, it's going to mess up my relationship. So for me, it is about like, okay, coming to terms with where we actually are and working from there. Another thing that so for me, it is a lot. It's like, okay, this is upsetting. Even seeing, you know, the way people handled the recent fires, which I'm so sorry if you live in LA, I'm so sorry for all that has happened. My heart goes out to you if you've lost anything, lost your home, lost your community, like, so just sending so much love. But seeing the reaction to that, you know, there was a lot of good reaction, but there was also a lot of vitriol. And a lot of people saying like, see, this is climate change. And then other people saying, no, that's just irresponsible government or some shit. So I have to get that. I have to unhook from those things. I have to donate to a place that'll make a difference. I have to do something. I have to, you know, and so for me, it's about that. Recently, I read a book on climate change and I'm like, wow, that's so impactful. Like, that's so incredible. And then it's like, okay, here's another one. I'm like, I don't have the capacity to read that right now. For me, a lot of this about is acceptance, like is starting to get on board with the world that how it actually is, and not to like give up or be defeated. But for me, as somebody with CPTSD and trying to have a fucking day, I have to figure these things out. For me, it's not about pushing them down, and it's not about ignoring it. It's not about getting over it. None of that works for me. It is about using my tools to get unhooked from me. Just, I don't want to destroy myself as the planet is being destroyed, you know? And if the planet's going to destroy me, all right. But, you know, or if the consequences of humans on the planet. And another thing I've heard is like the planet's going to be fine. It's just that it will be unlivable for humans. And it's like, okay. Um, just making peace, and really making peace with the things that we thought humans would do. There's a statue that I've seen where it says people still talking about climate change, and it's a statue of a lot of different, it looks like a lot of men sitting in a circle, and it's inside of like a fountain. Like they're like, I don't know, chin deep, chest deep in water, and they're still talking about climate change. And I think that statue is truth. I think that we're seeing that statue come to life. You think you make the statue and then people will see, but they can't. And apparently that's not how humans work, unfortunately. So we focus on what we can change. We focus on how to deal with our day to day, and then we try to, you know, make the changes that we can. And then for me, a lot of it is doing the next thing, is also getting on with my life, you know, and we prepare, you know, like if we knew a storm was coming, like we would prepare, we would have things on hand. So a little, I can't believe I'm not a prepper, but I probably will be because it'll be the right thing to do. You know what I mean? Like it'll be like, this is normal. You have to have like weeks of food and water. Like, okay, I guess we're doing that now. Um, Lastly, I just want to say to that second grader, like, I am so proud of you. Like you're right. Like I remember reading stuff like that too when I was little. And it's like, it almost made it seem like it was my job, and they were telling me, like, how much that I could help if I just recycled or if I, turned off the lights or whatever, and you did do that, and you are doing that, and it's showing what kind of person that you are, and you grew up to be that person, and you are still that person. And for me, sometimes, especially, I mean, it's just another thread to follow. When there's an injustice or there's something in the world that we bump up against with, it might be an opportunity for me to say, like, okay, which part of me is devastated? Well, you're really clear. This piece of what's going on in the world started for you when you were in second grade. Okay, that's parts work. And it's like, maybe she has some wisdom for you. Maybe she has, and then also maybe you have some wisdom for her, and that you can tell her, you can use active imagination or parts work where you can kind of dialogue with that part of yourself, and maybe it won't be as scary as it feels right now. And maybe even giving that girl a voice will be helpful. So these are some of the thoughts that came up for me. Thank you so much for asking the question. And I hope that's helpful. Love you, bye. My books, if you're still here, not you who asked the question, but they're available on Amazon if you're interested. I have a Irreverent Grief Guide and I have an Irreverent Trust book. Okay, talk soon. Love you, bye.